Welcome, everyone, to 24/7 Sports. I am Tom Loy alongside the 105 guys. We've got Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins and National Analyst Cooper Patagna. Signing day is right around the corner, so we're looking at 2025 recruiting classes all across the country and bringing them a look at the soon-to-be signees. We're going to hit a few superlatives and clearly state our take on a lot of these prospects. Today, we're looking at Georgia. The Bulldogs currently have the number 3 ranked recruiting class in 2025, and there are 24 commits set to play for head coach Kirby Smart. Andrew, we will start with you. Early draft pick potential, a guy with elite traits now, but also somebody who can see himself drafted early in the NFL draft.
Well, Tom, I feel like I just stepped up to the tee box and the fairway is about 2 miles wide. I don't think you can miss here, given what Kirby Smart and that staff does from a recruiting standpoint. It's Elijah Griffin, right? Our number 4 ranked overall player, number 1 ranked defensive lineman. He might be the safest prospect in the class of 2025. You got 3 quarterbacks ahead of him, but when we're talking a guy that's not touching the ball every play, Elijah Griffin is the one that can impact it like few others. Disruptive interior force, fuses together exceptional physical traits with an advanced feel for the game. He just moves people out of the way. Entered his senior season with 69.5 tackles for loss, 35.5 sacks. I think we also always forget at 270 pounds, he had a 34.5-inch vertical jump. That is insane for an individual that size. 288 pounds now, 6'9" wingspan, 10-inch hands. I think this guy's going to go to Georgia, and they're going to turn him into another NFL draft pick. Heck, he'll probably play for the Philadelphia Eagles, given how much love they show to the folks there in Athens.
The layup here is Elijah Griffin for all the reasons Andrew just said. And you talk about that fairway being 2 miles wide. Elijah Griffin is certainly the guy that I think anybody would pick in this situation. But because that fairway is so wide, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'll go with Isaiah Gibson, the big edge. And we like this kid a lot. 6'3", 270 pounds. He has almost 37-inch arms. Reported probably over 35-inch arms, but I love his ability to go speed to power. You can play him at a 2-point. You can also play him with his hand to the ground. I think this is a guy that fits Kirby Smart's scheme very, very well, and a guy that quite honestly might need a year, but the way that Georgia plays these young defensive linemen, I think he's going to have a chance to kind of eat as a freshman, continue to develop on his own timeline. I love Isaiah Gibson. I love the fit even more. Isaiah Gibson's one of those guys that I think can continue to emerge on Saturday and really become the player that we think he can be.
Obviously, no argument with either of those. That's just how good this class is. I'm going to go a different route. Receiver Talon Taylor, complete, do-it-all pass catcher, getting better every year. He's literally just scratching the surface to how good he's going to be. I think he's going to be special in Athens. Day 1 impact, a guy who will see the field early and often in year 1. Cooper, who do you got?
Well, this is a little bit tougher, right? Because Georgia's got elite depth, especially on their front 7. I'm going to go with Zayden Walker. And the player comparison here was Jalen Walker. And if you remember anything about Jalen Walker, especially in recent memory, this guy's been one of the better players in college football over the last couple of weeks. And I think Zayden Walker, a pretty similar profile coming out to a guy like Jalen Walker, 3-phase player, gets it done in all phases of the game. Love what he does on the offensive side of the football as a running back. And then you think about the instincts at the linebacker position, and then also a guy that you can rush off the edge as well. And that's really what you've seen with Jalen Walker. He's got one of those multi-dimensional profiles. I think Zayden Walker, to his core, the way that you would describe him is that he is a football player that also has elite traits as well. I just think he's going to be one of those guys similar to the backers that we've seen before, C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, that's going to be really difficult for Kirby Smart to keep off the field. I like Zayden Walker being able to find his way onto the gridiron next year for Georgia.
I'm going against the grain here, and instead of picking a defensive prospect, Tom, I'm going to take your dude, Talon Taylor. I loved him this offseason. One of the biggest risers for us. Georgia's going to lose Colby Young, Arian Smith, Dominique Lovett. All those guys are out, right, to graduation. Who's going to catch passes there? Georgia traditionally hasn't really invested a ton of resources in the wide receiver room. That has not been their avenue. We'll see how the rankings shake out. Talon Taylor, he's going to be at the All-American Bowl. He's had a heck of a senior season, 44 catches, just under 1,000 yards, 17 touchdowns in 9 games. What I also love, he's got a kickoff return touchdown on the ledger as well, dynamic with the cuts. As it stands right now, he would be the 3rd highest ranked wide receiver all-time signee in the modern era behind A.J. Green and George Pickens. I think he is someone that fits Mike Bobo's offense because he can catch and create separation on those in-breaking routes.
I think of those one-on-ones that we get at the All-American Bowl. I think Talon Taylor is going to have a huge, huge week. Day one impact for me, I'm going to take the layup. Defensive lineman Elijah Griffin. Just physically, he's elite. He's ready to go. Mentally, he's also ready for SEC play. I think this was a massive win for Georgia, and he's going to play right away. Boomer bust, an intriguing talent who could potentially outperform or underperform, kind of a mystery. Who do you got, Ivans?
I got Elias Williams, our number 2 ranked tight end. He was number 3 on my freaks list, 6'7", 245 pounds, green number after green number. The comp has long been for him, Darnell Washington. I'm just not sure Elias Williams is that true 6th offensive lineman just yet. Exceptional hooper like Darnell was, but it's kind of hard sometimes for these guys to catch on and embrace the role of being attacked, sealing off the edge, banging your head there in the SEC. With that being said, I think you got to trust Todd Hartley there. The other thing with Elias Williams is he's been a straight-up cheat code in the red zone here as a senior. New offense for him there at Camden County. 49 catches, just over 600 yards, 10 touchdowns. If he hits, he's going to hit big.
Yeah, give me Darren Akingbong out of New Jersey. Kind of reminds me of the profile of Joseph Jonah Ajanye, a guy that we really like that came on late. One of those guys that you would put in the raw developmental categories. And with Akingbong, this is a guy that has emerged and really worked his way up our board in a hurry, kind of knocking on that door of 5-star status. So we feel convicted in the player. I think one of those guys we want to learn more about. We're going to get to see at the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. The more you watch, the more you like him. Very different than Elijah Griffin, maybe an Isaiah Gibson. Going to take a little bit more time, especially coming out of New Jersey. A lot to like there. Pretty interested to see kind of where he fits in 2 to 3 years from now.
I'm going to roll with running back Usmani Kroma. I'm a little on the fence about him. Like projecting, is he a guy who could end up in the top 2 rounds or maybe the bottom half of the draft? But either way, super productive, great build, great frame, can carry the load, contribute from day one if he can. I think he ends up, I'm leaning towards the boom side. I think he ends up being a top 1, day 2 to selection in the NFL draft. It wouldn't shock me at all. Diamond in the rough, a 3-star prospect who could surprise some people down the road, productive college player, and might even see himself drafted. Cooper, who do you got?
Well, I'm going to cheat, okay? And I'm going to go with Landon Rowland. Drew did this already with the 4-star in a previous series, so I'm going to do it as well. But Landon Rowland is a guy that just get ready, right? The Ladd McConkey player comps are coming. For a variety of different reasons. But I love this guy as a receiver, his suddenness, more of a one-cut runner, but his ability to take the top off the defense. I actually think he's got a little bit more to him athletically in terms of route variance as well. I think he can do a lot of different things. He's emerged in a big-time way as a senior, recorded 4.37. The physical traits in terms of how much he has to grow, I think are a little bit in question. But in terms of the impact that he can have on Saturdays, I like this kid a lot. And these are the type of guys that have made a living in Mike Bobo's offense. Kirby Smart has shown to prioritize these type of players. And I think a guy that can ultimately play early at the end of the day.
Who would have thought we would talk about all or 3 of Georgia's wide receiver commits, given what they have committed on defense? But not a ton of 3-stars to pick from here. I'm going to go with Tyler Williams, wide receiver out of the Sunshine State, thick-cut individual, over 200 pounds. He's impressed me every time I've seen him, whether that be on tape, in person, at his best, attacking the 2nd and 3rd levels. This past spring, I wrote down player comp Javon Baker at UCF. He's going to be selected here in the upcoming NFL draft. I think there's something there. A guy that's on our top 247 watch list. Really impressive, just kind of group of wide receivers with all different types of skill sets for Georgia. Have to give them credit there.
I, too, am taking a page out of Ivan's book and rolling with the lowest ranked 4-star prospect in an absolutely loaded class for Georgia. I'm going with Landon Rowland as well, like you did, Cooper. He's outstanding. And just to keep it simple, I expect him to get drafted one day. Terrific talent. But that wraps it up. As I said before, we're going to hit a bunch of schools moving forward, leading up to December's early signing period. But for Andrew Ivans and Cooper Patagna, I'm Tom Loy. As always, stay locked to 247sports.com.